Brooklyn Independent Television.
Just because you may have missed the meeting doesn't mean that you can't share your ideas. If you have some thoughts about the Armory and how it could best be used, get in touch with the Borough President's Office at bkarmoryproject@gmail.com. Now in northern Brooklyn, there's at least one more project where residents are calling for broader community input. The Broadway Triangle is at the cross-section of Williamsburg and Bedford-Stuyvesant. The argument isn't over the fact that affordable housing is planned for the area, but just who's going to benefit from the process that some believe lacks transparency at best, and at worst is blatantly discriminatory. Here again is Sherry Karabin.
I want to do over.
That's how Broadway Triangle Community Coalition member Anita Dunbar feels about the current plan to rezone a 9-block portion of the Broadway Triangle urban renewal area in Williamsburg. The New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development proposal would include approximately 18 acres, bounded by Flushing and Throop Avenues, Lynch Street, Union Avenue, Walton Street, and Harrison Avenue. The proposed rezoning would allow for new residential and commercial uses in the currently industrial area and calls for more than 1,800 new apartments to be built, about 905 of which would be affordable.
At every point of revision of this plan so far, there's been so much insider power that the process has been flawed. It was flawed because the community wasn't involved.
On September 9th, members of the more than 40-group Broadway Triangle Community Coalition made sure the city heard their voices, filing a lawsuit in Manhattan Supreme Court. The suit alleges the current plan violates the Federal Fair Housing Act as well as state and city human rights laws, since large portions of the area's minority residents were left out of the negotiations that led to the current proposal.
The city has been discriminatory against the African American, the Latinos, and even the Hasidic community. That there's a big portion of the Hasidic community has been left out. A majority of the Latino and African Americans have been left out of the process, and we feel that the city has developed a plan that does not include the needs of the entire community.
While the blocks where the changes will take effect are in Williamsburg, the area borders Bushwick and Bedford-Stuyvesant. Residents in those communities were not consulted, and neither was Bedford-Stuyvesant's Community Board 3. According to the lawsuit, the failure to consult Community Board 3 is a violation of the city's land use law.
I live in Bed-Stuy. We do have a say in this. What you put across the street from me is going to affect me. So we should have been consulted. We should have been allowed to be involved in the planning.
Although just about everyone agrees the area is in desperate need of affordable housing, the coalition believes a lot more housing could and should go up, especially on the city-owned land which sits on Throop Avenue. They say the trouble is the new zoning caps building heights at 8 stories, which supporters say is necessary so that they fit in with the surrounding area. But opponents charge that argument doesn't make sense, since much taller buildings already border 2 sides of the triangle. So right now they're proposing 1,800 units, and you say if they go a little bit higher, they could maybe do 3,600?
Yes.
Critics say adding insult to injury is the fact that the city has already made deals with the Ridgewood-Bushwick Senior Citizens Council and the United Jewish Organizations of Williamsburg to develop the land without taking bids from others. Both are connected to Assemblyman Vito Lopez, and the Broadway Triangle plan is considered to be one of Lopez's pet projects. Opponents add that the housing that will go up will contain a large number of 3- and 4-bedroom apartments as a result of UJO's efforts to cater to its members.
Most people now don't need 3- and 4-, 5-bedroom apartments because we don't have that many children. So that's geared to UJO, who cannot ride an elevator during the Sabbath. So making a building 6 to 8 stories high allows them to be able to function, all right? But this area needs the most affordable housing it can get.
Brooklyn Review contacted both UJO and the Ridgewood-Bushwick Senior Citizens Council, but no one from either organization returned the calls. Coalition members have other concerns that don't pertain to these two organizations. They say since the city only owns land on one of the blocks, the rezoning will essentially give a free ride to private property owners on the other blocks, and they'll likely put up luxury housing and force more longtime residents out. And that's not all.
The plan that HPD has does not add one park, one open space or green area. So add 1,000 new people and not have open space is completely irresponsible.
Housing Preservation and Development spokesman Eric Biederman declined to comment on the plan, saying it's HPD's policy not to discuss matters where there is pending litigation. Coalition members aren't the only ones upset by the proposal. The plan also calls for the city to relocate area businesses, including acquiring the block where Shanghai Stainless Product and Design Co. is located. Ernie Wong and his father have been at the same location for about 20 years, and Wong worries about what being forced to move will do to the company.
They have intentions of relocating me, but nothing's concrete. There's no set location where I'm going to be going, nothing. In 1989, we made our first coffee cart, and then from 1989 and so forth, we started making more of these units. I think relocating me wouldn't be that difficult, but relocating me so that it won't disrupt any business, that's more of the difficult challenge.
So far, the proposed rezoning has been approved by Community Board 1 as well as Borough President MARKOWITZ, who offered his own set of recommendations, including the addition of about 150 units of affordable housing, increased open space, a plan to keep the local businesses in the borough, as well as a requirement that the housing built on the city's property remains affordable forever.
I understand their concerns that they would have liked to have greater input. And by the way, my office would have liked to as well, to tell you the truth, but sometimes things don't work out that way. And we can only respond to the plans that are submitted to us. We found a lot of good things in Broadway Triangle, and that's why I approved it.
To go forward, the proposal still needs a green light from both the City Planning Commission and the City Council. In the meantime, coalition members are hoping their lawsuit can bring a halt to the process before it's approved and send the entire plan back to the drawing board so their ideas can be included. Reporting for Brooklyn Review, I'm Sherry Karabin.
Since that report first aired in September of 2009, the lawsuit filed by the activists was stalled in court for more than 2 years. But last week, State Supreme Court Judge Emily Jane Goodman stopped the project when she ruled that there can be no compliance with the Fair Housing Act where defendants never analyzed the impact of the community preference. Of the New York court ruling, Congressman Nydia Velázquez said, "The court's ruling sends a clear message not only that our community is opposed to this ill-conceived development plan, but the current scheme is discriminatory and illegal. The city needs to go back to the drawing board and work in a transparent, inclusive manner to develop a proposal that is fair to all residents of North Brooklyn." In another statement, City Council member Steve Levin said, "The Broadway Triangle is an important area in my district, and while I respect the court, this decision is very disappointing, not only to me, but to all Williamsburg residents who are desperate for affordable housing in the neighborhood." Brooklyn Review will continue to report on the developments on the development as they develop.
Download this program's podcast on iTunes. Keywords Brooklyn Independent Television.